Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me in my video. I want to talk to you this morning about the question that pops up in a lot of people's head. Is there any point in all the bad things that happen in your life? I mean, you might be struggling with something that you feel has set you back and maybe kind of puts you in harm's way. And maybe there's no question about it at all. Maybe you know for certain that what's happening to you right now is not a good thing, and there could be no positive end in turn. Okay? So the question comes up, why does God, if God exists, why does he let bad things happen to people? Why doesn't he stop certain things from happening? I watch a lot of videos and read a lot of books on existential issues regarding God and why he allows certain things to happen, and if he exists. And I'm personally a Christian myself, and your beliefs may not align with mine, but I want to kind of shed some light on this and bring up to you that perhaps we don't see the whole picture, and not being able to see the whole picture skews our viewpoint. And if we just change the way we thought, that maybe we would find purpose in everything. And sometimes you just can't. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes in life you just cannot assign real purpose, and you may never know fully why something horrible happened to you until you get into eternity. And that's my belief. I strongly believe that sometimes that's what it takes, is getting onto the other side of eternity to find out why certain things happened. I just trust that God has a purpose behind everything. And I want to give you an example here. I've been reading a book called Civilian Warriors, written by Eric Prince. And this is about the inside story of Blackwater and the unsung heroes of the War on Terror. And Blackwater is a contract security firm, or yeah, I guess that's how you say it. But anyway, they're a security firm. They're very large, one of the largest, perhaps the largest security firm in the world. And they've just done some wonderful things, but they've got a lot of bad press. But Eric Prince is the who authored this book, is the CEO or former CEO of Blackwater. He's the one that founded it. But he gives a good example here. Now, I'm going to do something that I'm not really exactly comfortable with. I'm actually going to read from this book rather than try to encapsulate the story myself. But here's something that happened to him, and I'm going to just bear with me. Forgive me if my reading is not music to the ears, but I think it's just better this way. I'm going to tell you something that happened to him where he was able to experience God's moving hand and grace in his life, and maybe it'll help you understand a little more why things happen the way they do, even though we can't always see why. So here's what happened to him. He says, in late September 2008, little Charlie, his one-year-old boy, little Charlie managed to wedge himself at the back door of our Virginia home. I was on a site visit in Afghanistan at the time. Joanna was out of the house at a shopping mall. Our nanny had just finished bathing Charlie in the kitchen. She turned her head for a moment to check on the other children. Like that, the one-year-old slipped out the door and went to play by the pool. He tumbled in. Charlie was floating there motionless when Christian, my oldest son, then 12, found him a short time later. Christian dove in and pulled him out, then performed the CPR he'd just learned through a Red Cross certification program at Blackwater. Sophia called 911 and family friends, somehow remaining calm amid the frantic scene, until an ambulance arrived to take Charlie to the hospital. My cell phone rang at 2 a.m. in Kabul. A crowd had gathered in the hospital. Joanna was beside herself. I scrapped my original travel plans, which had called for a stopover in Pakistan for the weekend, and within minutes was on a plane home. I have virtually no recollection of that 15-hour flight. I was so consumed by the fear of losing my son, I hardly breathed. And then, when I burst through the door of our home, I saw a strange thing. Charlie was smiling. He had his normal coloring back and was alert and generally looked exactly the way he had when I'd left for the trip a few days before. They'd discharged him from the hospital, and there was ultimately no residual damage from the accident whatsoever. God was clearly never going to let Charlie die, friends said, but I suppose everything happens for a reason. Later, I flipped on the news and nearly dropped the remote control. At 8 p.m. Islamabad time, right when I had originally planned to be checking into the Marriott Hotel there, terrorists had driven a 6-wheeled truck loaded with 1,300 pounds of explosives up to its front gates. The biggest explosion in Pakistani history, as government investigators described it, destroyed the building, killing 53 and wounding more than 260 others. Christian had saved Charlie's life. I believe Charlie saved mine. Now, I will say, folks, that not everybody has the privilege of having that kind of hindsight into why something may have occurred the way it did. And the question might come up, well, what about all those other people? I don't know. I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is pay attention to the story that was just told by Eric Prince. That sometimes things occur the way they do, in the order and the time they do, for a reason. Well, it might seem horrible. I mean, the guy, he said he couldn't even remember the 15 hours he spent on the flight. You know, I'm sure that, if you've ever had a crisis with one of your children, you know exactly how he feels. But, my word, can you stop and just think for a few moments that perhaps any of the annoyances and the interruptions you have in your life that are not nearly life-threatening as this, we complain about them, and we moan and we groan, and we gripe about how something has inconvenienced us, and we don't exercise as much grace toward God as I suppose he exercises toward us. I can guarantee it. And we're not giving him any slack and thinking to ourselves, maybe this is happening for a reason. And like I said, we may never see it on this side of eternity, but he did in this instance. And my hope is that most of the time we could realize why something happened the way it did. But to keep that in mind today, this is just something I read last night, and it really spoke to me, and I wanted to share it with you, and I hope it meant something to you. I hope it shed some light on something, gave you something to think about. All right, guys, I appreciate your time, and I will catch you in the next video. Have a great day. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll be catching you in the next one. Bye-bye.